So peace and power elevation. And this your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. So today topic I'll be dealing with Black history as I normally do every Monday and Tuesdays. So you can check me out Monday and Tuesdays around 3 p.m. Eastern time, and in the evening I usually go back live on around 9 p.m. Eastern. All right. So peace to brother Bars and Chains. Peace, brother. How you doing? So today I am going to get into the subject about African Americans in the STEM field, and this time we're going to take it to the natural sciences. So I want to do the topic on Ruth Ella Moore. Ruth Ella Moore was an African American woman who had earned her PhD in natural sciences. So she became a bacteriologist and microbiologist. So let me break down what a bacteriologist is. A bacteriologist is someone who study bacteria, the life and the origin of bacteria, and um, as far as its like development, etc. That's what a bacteriologist study. The life form of bacteria. Okay, it's just a study of bacteria. And also microbiology deals with the study of small organism. Okay, micro means small, macro means large, but micro is small. So biology, of course, is a study of organism. So in this case, you're studying the life component of small organism, mean organism that you can't see with the naked eye, that has to be under the microscope, etc. So yeah, that's what she has a degree in. It's not very rare that you see too many Black people that gets involved in those type of fields of study as far as microbiology and bacteriology is concerned. But those fields are very important and helpful, especially in this day of time where we dealing with pandemics and vaccines and all type of things. So yeah, it's very important that more and more people get involved into studying those fields. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys some information that I have available, and then from there I'll close it out. All right. So of course, the first information I'm gonna go to is Wiki1/Wikipedia, because a lot of people like going to Wikipedia, Wiki1, but they don't go there for a very good reason. Sometimes they go there for other reasons, but of course, Wikipedia always have information that is available. Even at the bottom of the page, you can find reference, you can find external links, all of that great stuff. So right here, this is the Wikipedia, and then you can see right here, this is the picture of Miss Ruth Ella Moore. That's her in her later years. So right here it says that her name, she was born May 19th, 1903 in Columbus, Ohio. She died July 19th, 1994. She was a bacteriologist and a microbiologist who in 1933 became the first African American woman to award a PhD in a natural science. She was a professor of bacteriology at Howard University. A decade later, she was installed as the head of the Department of Bacteriology, which she renamed to the Department of Microbiology. During that period, she was promoted to associate professor of microbiology. Now, she published her research on tuberculosis, immunology, dental caries, the response of gut microorganisms to antibiotics, and the blood types of African Americans. Although there are gaps in the official personnel records of the university, Moore is believed to have continued to teach and continue her research at Howard until 1973, which after she held the position of associate professor emeritus of microbiology until 1990. And Moore also gained recognition as a fashion designer. So she carried on multiple titles. I mean, she went from being in the STEM field to being in the fashion field. All right. Now let's talk about blood types for a moment. A lot of us don't even know what our blood type is. I know for me, I to be honest with you, I don't even know my blood type. So that's a question I have to ask: what's my blood type? But it's very interesting that she studied the blood types of African Americans. Now, from what I was told, that usually African Americans might have blood type A, blood type B, or blood type AB. Um, for the most part, and then there's those who have blood type O, but for the most of them have blood type A or blood type B. Again, many of us don't know our blood type. I don't know my blood type. But the reason why you have different blood type because they vary, because everybody, I mean, just because we all have, there's a saying that we all bleed red. Yes, that's true, but not necessarily. Just because we all bleed red doesn't necessarily mean that we all have the same blood type. So the blood types is what brings about a distinction as far as not just genetically, but as far as our blood cells is concerned, etc. There's a distinction there. So it tells, like, when you know the blood type of a certain individual, you can tell with what they're based on the blood type, with what's going on, what type of disease that they are prone to have, or what type of immune system they got, etc. So the blood type kind of just helps with better identifying individuals and their DNA, etc. Okay. So just because we all bleed red doesn't necessarily mean we all have the same blood. It's not quite the same. I mean, there is some differences. All right. But let me go ahead and continue. Um, Of course, it says she was born in Columbus, Ohio, to Margaret Moore and William E. Moore on May 19th, 1903. She had two older brothers, Donovan L. Moore and William E. Moore. Her mother was a successful artist. As a graduate of Columbus State College of Art and Design, she always encouraged Ruth to strive for a college degree and beyond. Moore attended Ohio State University for both her undergraduate and graduate education. She earned her Bachelor of Science degree in 1925, her Master of Science degree in 1927, and she was awarded her PhD in bacteriology in 1933 from the university. Her dissertation were on the tuberculosis bacteria that were entitled Studies on the Association of, was it micro or macro, or was it mycobacterial tuberculosis, and a new method of concentration on the tubercular bacilli as applied to sputum and urine examination. Oh, okay. So she was examining bacteria through the urine and all of that. So for those who may not know about urine examination, they're studying bacteria and how bacteria can cause infection through the urine, I mean, through your pee and all that. So that's very interesting. But you know what? What's very unique about studying these things, right? You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised a lot of things they can find out through your urine and your blood, but most of your urine, because of course your DNA is in your urine. And then another thing, if you're a woman, when you go to the bathroom and you urinate in the cup and put the little thermometer thing in the cup, you can it can detect your pregnancy. It can detect whether you're pregnant or not, because there's something in your urine that gives some type of indication to that thermometer that whether you're pregnant or whether you're not pregnant. And of course, they can also, scientists can also find out whether you have some type of disease, whether you have some type of if you do have a disease, is it hereditary, etc. Like it's just amazing how science can really discover a lot of things about the human body just by using these um just by using these things, such as your urine and your blood and your saliva, just to find out information. They don't have to necessarily go in and try to operate on you. They can just have you put in the spit in a cup or urinate in a cup or draw blood from you, and that's it. And they all they gotta do is take it under the microscope and carefully analyze it, and bingo, they got the answers. Especially when it comes to forensics. Especially if it comes to forensics. So, the forensics game is very heavy and deep. So when it comes to solving crimes, whether it be victims or whether it be suspects, those are the main assets they use: the urine, the blood, and the saliva, sweat, anything that contains with the DNA evidence on it. That's what they're going to use. And not just find out clues about the crime, but they also find out other information regard to the individual that may trace back to whatever disease or bacteria infection they may have. And science upgrades every single day, right before our eyes. It's always some type of new advances going on. It's very unique. But anyways, during graduate school at Ohio State University in Columbus, Ruth Ella Moore taught at the college that's now known as Tennessee State University in Nashville. She taught hygiene and English. In 1940, she became assistant professor of bacteriology at Howard University College of Medicine in Washington, D.C. In 1952, Moore became chair of the Department of Bacteriology. She subsequently was promoted to the position of associate professor. Moore's first act as chair was to change the department name from the Department of Bacteriology to the Department of Microbiology. In 1957, Moore stepped down from her departmental leadership position, but continued to teach and conduct research on bacteriology at the university. Some of her research included significant contribution in the study of blood types, immunology, dental caries, and the reaction of specific pathogens to different classes of antibodies. She conducted studies on blood groups and enterobacteriaceae. Just out of curiosity, I want to know, what is that? So, enterobacteriaceae or bacteriaceae is a large family of gram-negative bacteria. It was first proposed by Ron in 1936 and now includes over 30 genera and more than 100 species. Its classification above the level of family is still a subject of debate, but one classification places it in the order of enterobacteriales of the class Gamma Protobacteria in the phylum Protobacteria. In 2016, the description and members of this family were emitted based on comparative genomic analysis by Andulo et al. And it says Enterobacteriaceae includes, along with many harmless symbionts, many more familiar pathogens such as Salmonella. And I don't know, I'm not even going to try to say these other three. But anyways, other disease-causing bacteria in this family includes Enterobacter and Citrobacter. Members of the Enterobacteria can be trivially referred to as Enterobacteria or enteric bacteria, as several members live in the intestines of animals. In fact, the etymology of the family is Enterobacterium, with the suffix to design a family, not after the genus Enterobacter, which would be Enterobacteria, and the type genus is, again, I'm not even going to say a word, but anyways. But wow, okay, so basically studies is a large family of the gram-negative bacteria. So basically it studies the bad bacteria, right? Because there's different type of bacteria. You got the good bacteria and you got the bad bacteria. So in this case, she conducted a study on the bad bacteria, the ones that's causing some type of infection, etc. Basically, that's what she was studying. Okay. But anyways, continue. It says throughout her entire career, she was a member of the American Public Health Association and the American Society of Microbiology. Moore was the first African American to join the American Society of Microbiology. Moore was also a member of the American Association of Science, American Society of Immunology, the American Association of Microbiology, and the American Public Health Association. Moore also held other positions at the university, serving as chair of the scholarship and loans committees, as well as chair of the student guidance committee. She retired from teaching at Howard University in 1973 and held the position of associate professor emeritus of microbiology until 1990. All right, so it goes down here to talk about her publication. So again, her publication, her research was published in a wide variety of professional journals and publications, from the Journal of the American Medical Association of the American Journal of Physical Anthropology. They include a 1938 discussion of the immunology of dental caries. Her publication in the 1950s were on blood types among African Americans. I wish I could find those publications, but I can't. But anyway, in 1963, she published research on the sensitivity of gut microorganisms to antibiotics. The 1963 publication studied gut isolated microbes of the Death's Head cockroach by isolating pure cultures from the cockroach gut and culturing them on triticase soy agar, whatever. Moore later tested the cultures for the antimicrobial susceptibility and antibiotics resistance by placing discs containing antibiotics at various concentration on the plates. After incubation, Moore considered the bacteria sensitive to the antibiotics if there was a zone of inhibition present around the disc, and as resistant to the antibiotics if there was no zone of inhibition around the disc. Interesting study. Anyways, it says research into blood types. Now it says in some of her earlier work, Moore did research on the distribution and differences in blood types between American blacks and American blacks and American whites. She based her study on the works of L. and H. Hirschfeld and Landsteiner, Weiner, Levine, Belkins, and Son, Neal, and etc. Moore's study took place at Howard University College of Medicine. The university population included African Americans from throughout the United States, with few exemptions in the states representing this diversity made her participants a random sample for blacks in the nation. Moore's study was used for a teaching program. It was conducted by pricking the fingers of participants to collect blood sample and use macroscopic and microscopic process to observe the blood sample that were collected. Moore's experiment was split into 3 series. The first 2 series determined ABO blood types, and the third series was used to determine the subgroups of the ABO that are MN and RH. Interesting. Throughout Moore's research, she compared her result to that of the scientists who preceded her, such as Leinster and Weiner, who discovered the RH factor in human blood. When conducting her experiment, she was able to determined that the result from her MN study did not fully correspond with the results of the former experimenter, but her investigation into the RH types did correspond with that of the previous experimenter. Comparison of her results to those of the other experiments suggests that RH blood types might be a good starting ground for studying and building a foundation of knowledge about different racial backgrounds. Beyond Moore's study of RH and MH blood types, she also discovered in a group of 2,496 African Americans that 51.94% of them were in Group O, 17.32% in Group B. only 27.3% were in Group A and 3.01% in AB. Well, that's interesting that 51%, which if you round that number up, that would be 52% of African American was Group O. And then 27% was Group A. So the highest, so according to her studies, the highest African Americans with a certain type of blood type were those in Group O and Group A. So those were the highest numbers of African Americans that had these blood types, the most blood type O and most blood type A more than any other blood types. Wow, that's interesting. So, anyways, it says that data correspond with an early experiment in physical anthropology whose result demonstrated the type O and B were more prominent in African Americans than the other blood types. Mm. So it might be a possibly a chance that I might be either O or B. I might be. I don't know. But anyways, her honors, Moore is believed to be the first African American woman to earn a PhD in the natural sciences, which she received from Ohio State. And additionally, she awarded 2 honorary degrees from during her career, a doctorate in literature from Oberlin College, and in 1973, a doctor of philosophy from Gettysburg College. Moore received the Centennial Award for Distinguished Alumni from Ohio State University. In 2005, U.S. Representative Eddie Bernice Jones introduced a congressional bill recognizing the work of Ruth Ella Moore along with that of other scientists in the United States. So it goes on to say that lifetime passion for fashion design. Besides being a well-known scientist with a passion for her professional work, Moore was a talented seamstress, meaning somebody who sewed. And her passion for fashion design was evident throughout her life. Her mother shared the same talent and interest. She loved elegant, classic styles of clothing and design and constructed her own garments for most occasions, from day to evening wearing. And from tailored to drape components, her love for fashion definitely showed in the pieces she wore daily. Several garments designed by Moore were featured in the works such as the Soul Art, Quality Fashion, and Economy in 2009. Some of her most notable creation included a two-piece suit composed of an all-white jacket and black skirt, a long velvet dress, and a taffeta dress that was floor length and covered in flowers of many colors. The HCTC's Sports and Fashion has one of Moore's swimsuit on display, but due to the lack of labels and dates from the 1930s, no one is sure whether she made it or purchased the stylish garment. And she died at the age of 91 in Rockville, Maryland. Wow. So that's that information. Also, you can see down here list of people from Columbus, Ohio, a list of Howard University people, timeline of women in science. And then you also got the reference at the very bottom of the page. All right. So that's that information. And if you guys are interested in looking for books that's dealing with women in science, or Black women in particularly in science, right here, this book is called Black Women Scientists in the United States. Written by Winnie Warren. So Black Women Scientists in the United States by Winnie Warren. All right, so if you guys are interested, you can go on archive.org and you can look this book up. Then this is the book right here. It's called Women in Microbiology, edited by Rachel J. Whitaker and Hazel A. Barton. Women in Microbiology, and this book was written in 2018. Yes, it came out in 2018. All right. So that's all I have for today. Well, for now. And until next time, you guys take it easy on yourselves. Please be safe. And oh yeah, I want to say this. Shout out to YouTube for putting restriction on misinformation, medical information at that, and pseudo medical scholarship. Shout out to YouTube for that, because that eliminates a lot of misinformation regard to scientific research, especially when it comes to information about the vaccine and also the pandemic and stuff like that, because there's a lot of people that's been really getting on these social media platforms and putting out all kind of false narrative, false information, and I'm glad that YouTube is tackling that. And also Facebook, of course, if you notice that if anybody posts up any type of false information, what Facebook do is verify and check the information and stuff. So once Facebook verify the information, Facebook will tell you that this information is false or this report is false. And Facebook go about showing you why it's false, etc., and take you to the source where the information comes from and where's the correct information can be found. So shout out to the social media platforms for that. I can say that. So peace, Mark. What's going on? Anyways, until next time, y'all take it easy. This your girl Tiffany. I'm logging off. So I say peace, power, elevation be to all of you. Thank y'all for coming through. All right. And I'll check in with y'all later. All right, then.